Greetings. I'm here today to talk about the process of budgeting the script that you've been working on during this course. We're going to use a program called Showbiz. It is an application that you'll have to download. You have been provided with a serial number in the module, and it will allow you a free trial for the duration of this course until the end of the course time. I'd like to say a few things about budgeting, the concept of budgeting. I was not a mathematical person at all. I was never good with numbers, and when I got into the film business, I was surprised how important it was to have an understanding of numbers and how they drive so much of the decision making and of the art that ends up being the film. So I learned to love budgeting because a budget is really just a series of questions that it's asking you about your project that you can seek the answers to and then feel like you're moving into production with some sort of rock solid understanding of what you're going to need to get it done the way you want to get it done. So I would say don't fear the money. Don't be afraid to talk about money. Don't be afraid to talk about budgets. It's not that hard once you realize that it's really just a form you have to fill in, like a job application or a medical record or anything like that. So it's important to keep in mind also that budgets change constantly. They're an organic thing that is constantly evolving, literally up until the movie is released and sometimes after the movie is released. So you really want to go into it with an open mind, set aside your fear of math, and just try to enjoy the process of learning what it really takes to make the film, and where the creativity comes into that aspect of it for the production team about how they're going to get the most for the least amount of money. So that's it for the introduction to the budgeting process. Now we'll move to the computer and I'll show you how to open your Showbiz free trial account and download it to your computer and get started with the budget input process. All right, now we're ready to open Showbiz, which of course you've already downloaded the trial onto your computer and you're ready to move ahead with inputting the data. So I'm going to open Showbiz Budgeting. So up here in the left-hand corner, you'll see that the program is open. You're going to open the budget template.mbb, which was provided. You cannot use any other budget form or file form. You have to use this one that's provided. Okay, and here it is. Now we're going to go through this piece by piece. The best way is to start here with titles on the left tab and just work your way over. So as you see, I've already put some instructions in here. For the title, put the title of the script you broke down here. For the director, put your name. For the producer, put a family member's name. For the writer, put your name. For the script dated, put your birthday. And for budget dated, put the first day of the month and year that you're working on this. Okay, so that's the titles. That's sort of the title page of the budget. The next tab over is comments. This is where we put what we call the budget assumptions. It's little pieces of information that people need to know before looking at the budget. So again, the director's name, producer's name, film title, the budget amount, which you'll have to do the budget and come back and enter this, and I check this, so make sure that you don't forget to go back and put in your final budget amount. The locations of the shoot, put Orlando. Shoot dates would depend on your one-liner, 5-day weeks, number of shoot days, etc. Just go ahead and fill this out as instructed, and you'll be done with the comments section. The summary is really known as the top sheet. This is a summary of the monies in all of these accounts, all the charges that you're anticipating that you're going to incur. And all film budgets are set up the same way. Above the line, they have screenplay and writing costs, producer's cost, director's cost, the cast, and above the line, travel and living. Below the line is pretty much everybody else. This category has nothing to do with creative input or importance or value to the production. It is strictly a financial designation. These items above the line are market driven. Actors cost different amounts of money depending on how popular they are and how much they can demand. Same with directors, and same with producers, same with writers. Whereas below the line is the actual cost of making the movie, because those salaries don't change very much from movie to movie. So don't touch anything on here. You can go in and edit these, but you don't need to, so you really just can skip this whole section, this summary. You're going to need it later after you've loaded some things, but for now, you don't need to worry about it. Okay, so here we are in the actual data entry area. Over here, the first thing I do is I click this to the very first category. 1100, so I'm working my way through by number. On this little window, I want to make sure I'm in the MFA budget view, which is correct. And I see here that I have some categories that need money. And in our sample budget, we have something under other charges. So in order to enter that information, you highlight other charges, you go down here to the lower left corner, and in this case, we're directed to put in laser cartridge. We need 1, so we put in quantity of 1. What are we measuring? We're measuring cartridges. And the dollar amount is $30 for how much it costs. We click OK, and there it is. It shows up down here in a detail that I can look at or change anytime I need to. It shows up here in the account, the total, and then if you look on your top sheet or summary page, you will see that it is now over here as part of the budget. And down here, I've entered an automatic contingency account of 10%. So it's going to add 10% on anything I put in the budget, just so I have a little slush fund in case of emergency. All right, the next thing we're going to do is a global. A global allows you to write a formula so that something in the budget that doesn't change from category to category, you can just plug in one number and it's the same for everybody. This is useful for something like the shoot period. Principal photography is going to be the same for everybody. No matter whether they start 6 months ahead or the day before you start shooting, the shoot period is the same. So it makes it easy to go in there and enter it, and it also allows you to go in and change that number. Like maybe originally it was an 18-day shoot, now it's 24. Now you would just have to go in and change the global. And you see that in here there's a number already left over from before, but the formula is letter P, which we've decided stands for principal photography, is 32 days. So wherever I type a P in the budget entry, I end up with this number. So now we've set that up. So let's go into the producer unit. Click on producer, click on add, and I'm going to put a P in quantity, and I'm going to put days, and I'm going to give him $100 a day, and it automatically knows to put 32 in there. Even though I wrote P, it puts 32 at $100. That's 32 days, that's $3,200. If you go back to the summary, you'll notice that there's money in the producer's account now, $3,200. Budget and the detail, I can double click and see exactly how we arrived at that number. Now, if I decide to change the shoot days, if they said, look, 32 days is too much, and we're going to have to shoot in 25, then I can just go back and change this to 25. Hit return, make sure to enter it. And now it's only $2,500. It would go through and change everybody that I had given the global to. So anytime you have a crew member or a person that's working during the shoot period, make sure to enter them with the global. This is something I check. One of the first things I check when I'm grading the budget is to go up here and make sure you've reset this to your number of shoot days. And I know your number of shoot days because I have your one-liner and I have your day out of days. You've submitted those already. The next tricky one is cast. So principal cast, we're going to put everybody in principal cast for the purposes of this assignment. Go down to add, and then for each character in your one-liner and on your day out of days, you're going to enter their name. I don't remember Grace's last name. I'm going to give it Smith. Then how many days does she work? How do I know that? Well, you go back to your one-liner, you go back to your day out of days report, you look at how many days on the day out of days report that Grace is supposed to work, and you put that number in there. Now in this movie, Grace is the star and she's in almost every scene in the movie, so I'm going to assume that in her day out of days it had the same number of days I put in there, which is 24 days, or I believe we're giving them $100 a day, correct? And now she's in there, and you have to go in and add one of these for every character in your script. And put in the number of days they work based on the day out of days that you did. All right, so there's going to be quite a few of them in here. So go through every category in this budget and enter the data that you were given with the synchronized instructions for the sample budget. The last thing I want to add on here is how to use the multiply box. The best way to do that is to go to sound, and we're going to rent some walkies, and I'll show you how to use that just so you know for your own reference. So under sound equipment rentals, add, identify what it is. And now let's say we're renting 15 walkies for 6 weeks at $25 per week per walkie. So in quantity, I'm going to put 15. In units, I'm going to put walkie-talkies, WT, just an abbreviation. The rate is $25 per unit per week, and then 6, because I'm going to rent them for 6 weeks. So that's how you use the multiply box. You don't use it often, but it's really handy when you have it. So once you've gone through every category in the budget and you've gotten the dollar amounts from the sample budget that was provided and you've uploaded them into here, go back and check the summary page, and there should be no blanks. Every single account should have money in it. So that's one way to check your work. But at that point, you would then save the file. You would save it as an MBB file, which is the native Showbiz budgeting file. That's what I need to see. I need to be able to open it in Showbiz and review it. So the way to do that is go up to File, Save As, put your name here so I can find it later. Save it wherever you want so you can find it later. Save. There it is. So now when I go to the desktop, here's my file, and that's what you're going to submit for your assignment, along with the day out of days, the instructions of which were in a previous module. So that's it. Give yourself plenty of time to do this assignment. Do it over several days. Contact me if you have questions, and have some fun with it. See you at the movies.